welcome back to the Upper Echelon Podcast, where we keep it real and keep it jiggy over here. Cause why? Cause we ain't never ever scared. Hit that like button on your way in. Make sure that you, hey girl, I see you back there. Hit your like button on the way in, and also make sure that you're subscribed to my channel if you're not already. Make sure that you hit the notification bell so that you can be notified of any time that I live stream in the future or any time that I post content in the future. And also make sure when you hit that notification bell that you select all. That way, everything that I do, you'll be notified on. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about a really, really serious topic that I hold near and dear, that I know that a lot of people that I know have experienced, and even a lot of the people that support me have experienced as well. Now, I'm asking why I do this live. Unless it's like extremely necessary that I don't receive any text messages or any inboxes moving forward. I'm going to have a few ladies on a panel. They're going to be telling their stories. I want them to be patient with me because I see them back there. We're going to have, I believe, 3, maybe 4 people tonight tell their stories of what they've experienced dealing with sexual assault or child molestation in their home, in their families, so on and so forth. Before I get started, what I do want to do though is I'm not going to do any shout outs today. I'm just saying overall hey to the chat because I kind of want to get into it. I appreciate everybody for showing up. Look at that. Look at y'all showing up for something important and something that matters within our community. I love y'all for that. So I want to read a few statistics before I actually bring my panelists up, that the women that were brave enough to go ahead and come share their stories. I'm also going to drop the cash apps of the women that are going to come up here and share their stories tonight. If you guys would like to bless them, okay? But before I bring them up, let me share some quick statistics. Now, this particular article that I found regarding sexual assault or child molestation in the Black community, it's more so targeted towards young women. However, most of us know that males, little boys, or teenagers also deal with molestation in the home, and they struggle with how to tell somebody. They struggle with how to move forward in life without dealing with, not without dealing with the trauma, but dealing with that trauma. We spoke in the last live about how a lot of times in our community, unfortunately, when somebody comes forward and say, hey, this happened to me, even to their own family members, mothers, fathers, uncles, and cousins, hey, this is what happened when I was 10. This is what happened when I was 5. A lot of times the reaction is, oh, well, that was a long time ago. Or, oh, that's how that's how Uncle Ray Ray is. That's how Uncle David is. He's just like that. He didn't mean nothing by it. Totally disregarding the fact that it has completely shattered this child, who may even now be an adult, shattered their lives. It has changed their lives forever. I even likened sexual molestation in a child to murder or unaliving somebody, because that's exactly what you're doing to a child when you commit these acts, because you're killing their spirit, you're killing their confidence, and it oftentimes, unfortunately, because they don't have anybody to tell, you're killing their future. So what I want to do today is educate people about the importance of molestation in the home. And today I'm focusing more so on the Black community because I'm a part of the Black community. And the Black community has an issue with therapy for some reason. The Black community there's a stigma that says if you need therapy, then there must be something wrong with you. Or if this happened to you, there must be something wrong with you. So we're trying to educate people moving forward that this can happen. And if it does happen, tell somebody. You can tell somebody. It's okay if it happened. You have a future. You can move forward. Your life is not over. You don't have to walk around feeling like you're being labeled for the rest of your life because an adult person could not control their own urges. If you look at the bottom of the screen, scrolling across the bottom is the National Sexual Assault Hotline, which is 1-800-656-4673. Just in case anybody knows somebody that's dealing with that, with this issue. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me see. I'm trying to see who's in my back. All right. So it says here that Black women have been conditioned to be their brother's keepers and have allowed themselves to be perpetual victims by doing so. 60% of Black girls have experienced sexual. I'm gonna liken this to my chat because this is a room, right? And it's a lot of Black women in this chat. That at least 9 have been victims of pedophilia, street harassment, and or sexual assault. Or they have a friend, cousin, sister, aunt, mother, or grandmother who has been victimized. Okay, so that's just about everybody. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is Okay, I'm back. I'm back, I think. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Drop a one if y'all can hear me. Please, I can't tell. Okay. 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 For some reason, I got kicked out. I'm not even sure how that happened. Okay, y'all can hear me. Okay. Okay. So what I'm gonna do? Sorry for that interruption, y'all. I'm gonna let up my panelists. Let's see. Introduce themselves to the topic. Hey, April, how are you?
Hey, Upper and Chat. I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for agreeing to go ahead and join today and share your story. And then I'm trying to see who.
Hey, hi, hey everyone. Hey chat, how y'all doing?
So I'm so grateful that you guys. That's extremely brave of you. I have another person has their camera on. This is Michelle. Now, Michelle, I'm gonna let you up, but if you want to, if you don't have to. It's up to you. Give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. I can see you back there. Okay, and then we have Michelle.
Hi.
Okay.
Hello, ladies.
Hey,
How are
Michelle,
you
how are
guys?
you?
Hi.
I'm doing well. We're going to let everybody introduce themselves. I'll start with April. For some of you, so you guys just let me know if you guys can't hear me or if I'm going in and out. How's my audio?
It's kind of going in and out, but it's right now it's okay. But yeah, we can tell that there's like some choppiness going on.
Okay. Anytime my audio goes out, just let me know. You guys can remain up here and then I'll just come back. Okay, so
Okay.
I also would love guys. I do have, I believe, one person that really didn't want. I'm going to share April's Cash App in the chat if you guys would like to bless her for being as brave as she's being tonight by sharing her story. I don't have anyone else's, but if anyone else would like to share their chat, okay. So we're going to get started with Miss April. Thank you, Rich.
Okay, so you just want me to do like an introduction? You're going to go around with everyone?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. So I just want you to introduce yourself and
Okay.
just introduce yourself to the crowd, and then we can just get started. We're going to Michelle next.
Okay, great. So, hey, everybody in the chat. My name is April, and I am a mom of three girls. I'm 55 years old. I'm a Los Angeles native. Um, I am a career woman, a business owner. Um, you know, that's kind of like the basis of who I am. I'm a lover of life and a lover of all people.
And then Shanae.
Hey everyone, my name is Shanae. I'm a mother of three grown kids, a grandmother of four. Um, I'm also a wife now, as of July the 12th this year.
Wow, congratulations.
And I'm 57 years old. Thank you. I'm 57 years old. And I've been in the medical field since 1988. So that's my story.
That's
And
awesome. And then, go ahead, Shanae. Then Michelle.
Hi, Upper and Chat. Thank you for allowing me to be on your panel. My name is Michelle. I am a mother of two daughters and one deceased son. I am the grandmother of 11. I am 58 years old, And I'm excited to be on this panel.
Mhm.
Excited to bring some awareness to our communities.
And I'm excited to have you. And you know what, you all, this is such a serious topic, and I felt like it was important to bring more attention to it, because I know that we joke and we play a lot in this sector, but it's just certain things that I have found, and I'm sure that you guys feel the same way, extremely disturbing when it comes to certain topics and how they've been minimalized. And I feel like that more attention needs to be brought to it. And it really made me think about how, in the Black community, for some reason, such a traumatic thing can be minimalized the way that it is. And so I personally see stories like this every day just due to my profession. And I see the trauma that children go through. I see the trauma that parents go through trying to deal with how to, I don't want to say fix, because I don't think that's the best word, but how to treat the trauma in their child, how to deal with the acting out, how to move forward, how to move forward in their own families after traumas like this happen. So that's the reason that I really wanted someone, or a group of women who have actually experienced this type of trauma, whether it be themselves, their children, or family members, to just come up and explain their stories and how they move forward, and the things that they did to heal, or the things that they did to heal their families. And whoever wants to go first, we're going to let this be like a natural process, okay? Whoever wants to go first can go ahead and get in there and explain why this is such a passionate thing for you, and why this is such a serious topic in your life.
I'll go.
Who is this, Shanae? Okay, Shanae.
Shit, I'll go. And right now I'm getting chills up here, but y'all just deal with me, okay? Because
And you
it's
guys, this is a trigger warning. If y'all want to cry, go ahead and cry. This is a judgment free zone. We know what we're talking about in here, and we know that it's a sensitive topic. So you know, if you need to be emotional, don't feel ashamed about that, because we know what we're
yeah.
dealing with tonight. So go ahead and go ahead, Shanae. We all ears. We're listening,
Okay.
and we
Okay.
support each other in here tonight as well.
Yeah. Okay. How y'all doing? This happened to me when I was, I think, 12 years old, and you know how you, uh, you know how you, well, it was my little sister, well, my mother's ex-husband. He passed away, brother. But you know, you go over their houses, you go visit their house and stuff, and you be playing, with the kids and stuff in the room. And he used to come in, the uncle, he wasn't my uncle, his brother. He used to come in the room every time, people, they leave out, the kids leave out. I'm in the room playing or something, and, doing it. He would come in the room and shut the door and be like playing and, like touching on me and stuff like that, right? So every time I was, I didn't know how to tell my mother, and, I didn't know how to tell my stepfather, because I know he probably would have killed him. But as a child, you really just don't know what to do in those instances. So I used to go over there all the time, and then I hated to go over there. So I told mom, I don't want to go over there. And she was like, why? I never would tell her. I never would tell her. It took me till I got older to tell my mother that, after my stepfather passed away, because I was so scared. And I told her, and she was like, why didn't you tell me before? But I don't know. It was crazy. He didn't never, he would just touch on me and stuff. He never penetrated me or anything. But it's just the touching and stuff like that that was really the worst, you know.
What a
And
lot of real quick, Shanae, what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of times when it comes to sexual molestation, most times it comes from somebody that you know, which makes
hmm
it more traumatic. So one question I'm gonna let you finish that I want to ask you is, you said that you didn't want to go over there. How did you move forward, like as far as family events and things like that?
I didn't want. I told my mother I didn't want to go over there, but she made me go over there anyway. So I mean, and every time I went over there, he would. But then when I started going over there, I'll stay in the living room around my mother, and my stepfather. So they were like, "Well, why you don't want to go play with the kids?" I didn't want to go in the bedroom at all, and it was just crazy. It was just crazy. It was
Right,
just crazy. But I did eventually tell my mother, and you know, she was upset, but I did tell her. But by that time, my stepfather had passed away. His brother had passed away.
right.
So she did. I don't know which. I think she did say something to his wife about it. So I don't know. I can't remember all that, but all I know is I'm gonna tell y'all it's something that you don't want to go through. Trust me. And it's a scary thing. It's real scary because you be like, well, well, what if he say, he lied, if I said something to my mother, or he would say I was lying, because some things people, the parents don't believe you. Sometimes the parents don't believe you.
Your mom believed you. You just didn't tell her until you got older.
Yeah, my mother did. She did believe me, and she was upset because I didn't tell her before. So, uh, I have been through, y'all, if y'all only know, I've been through it. I was raped, when I was young, against my will. So, it's like right now, I'll let somebody else go because right now, the next person can go, please.
Your time, Shanae. Take your time. It ain't no. It's not a rush, and it's not no judgment in here. If you need to take a break, you can always just take a break. But what I
Yeah, I'll
want to say
take a
is,
break.
I want to thank you so much for being that brave and sharing that story. Um, and before we move on to the next person that wants to share their experience or their family members' experience, what I wanted to know was, what are some of the things that you have done to cope, um, with what you've dealt with, as a child? What are some of the things that you've done to be able to live day to day in the right frame of mind? Have you gone to counseling? You do therapy?
Yeah,
Um,
my mother put me in therapy. I had to go to, yeah, she put me in therapy. So she put me in therapy. But the thing about it is, you know, when I told her, that I was, I got raped, I got raped. And it was two guys that lived in my building, back in the day. And it was two guys. And I told her. And when I told my mother, she rushed me to the hospital. I had to go, all that stuff. She had to do all that stuff. They had to take all these tests. And you get triggered because AIDS and all that stuff. You got gonorrhea. You had crabs back then. There was a lot of stuff
right.
that you could have caught. But to God be the glory. I didn't have none of it.
Thank God. I could tell Shanae, I could tell just by listening to you, you got to be from the DMV, baby.
Yeah, I am.
All right. I could tell by listening to you that you got to be from the DMV.
Yeah,
I feel like you guys are so brave for coming up here and going ahead and sharing all, your story and being vulnerable and being open with everyone. Um, and I'm actually really shocked to hear that you said that you actually did go to therapy, because when I listen to a lot of black women, or not even black women, but just men and women in the community, a lot of people look down on therapy for some reason. So I'm
yeah. My
glad that,
mother didn't play. My mother
yeah,
didn't play that. My
okay, I'm
mother
glad
didn't play that.
you did.
She didn't play that. She she didn't play that. She put me in therapy right away. And I'm the oldest child, so
Okay, okay. And let me check my private check, so I'm gonna see it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on to the next, whoever wants to go next. Also, I saw somebody in the chat that is saying that she would like to share her story now. So I'm going to see if I can. I don't even. Okay, here it is. Okay, Miss April or Miss Michelle, whoever wants to go, we're gonna get into these stories, and then we're gonna get into talking about the healing process.
I'll
Okay.
go
I'll go.
upper.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Michelle. Go ahead.
Um, my abuse started when I was about 11 years old from my stepfather. The first instance happened. My mother and he had were having some problems, and he had moved out of the home, and so he had gotten an apartment. He and I were very close, and I went to my mother and I told her I wanted to spend some time with him because he wasn't my stepfather; he was dad. And so they made arrangements, and I spent the weekend with him. We had dinner. He said we were going to watch a movie. The movie consisted of a man with a little girl, and she had a baby doll. And he started demonstrating on the doll, and he said, this is how they kiss in France. And
Mm,
he would start French kissing the doll. And then he would do it to the little girl. Then well, this is how they kiss here. And then he would demonstrate on the little girl. At 11, I didn't understand that we were watching pornography,
mm,
but I did know that I was uncomfortable. And so I told him that I wanted to go to bed. I brought up a sleeping bag. And so we put the sleeping bag on his bed. I went to sleep. I woke up in the middle of the night with him molesting me.
mm, mm,
Of course, I didn't know that it was molestation. I didn't understand what was going on. I just knew that I did not like it. They eventually got back together and the abuse continued. I had a girlfriend that lived across the street from me, and she was the only one that I confided in. And I made her swear that she would never tell a soul. And so she and I would devise a plan where we would ask our parents if she could spend the night this weekend or I could spend the night at her house the next weekend because that was
mhm,
the time I could be safe. Was on the weekends if our
mm.
parents allowed it. Um,
Wow.
the last day of the abuse, they were having problems again, but he was still in the home, but he was sleeping on the couch. And my bedroom was across the hall from my mother's bedroom. And he came into my room. And this time he made multiple attempts to penetrate me.
Mm,
And I can remember squirming under him. And that was really the first time that I fought him. And he finally gave up and he went back to the living room. And to this day, I can remember just laying in my bed for hours, just crying.
that's
And
on that night.
I'm sorry.
On that night.
Yes. And I started calling out for my mom, but I was conscious not to be too loud because I didn't want him to hear me. But my mother never did. So I did tell my friend, and thank God she told her mother. And her mother called my mother to her house, and she told my mother. And I can remember that day I was home sick from school, and my mother came into my room, and she said, I want to ask you something. And I need you to be completely honest with me. And so she asked me. And it was like the world had been lifted off my shoulders. I felt like I was saved. And
Right.
I told my mother what happened. And that evening, right before he came home from work, my mother told my two brothers to go outside and not to come in the house unless she called for them. And so my mother, my sister, and I were sitting in the living room when he walked in, and that's that's the first time that I knew that he was also molesting my sister.
Oh.
Um,
Oh,
my mother confronted him. He admitted it, and I'll never forget. He said to me, "You don't have to be ashamed," because I couldn't look at him
Wow.
because I did feel ashamed. And so my mother called the police. They did not arrest him, but they made him leave the home. It was probably about a year when we finally went to court. And I really want to speak from a child's perspective, the emotional turmoil that you go
Yeah.
through. Um, because, at 12 and a half, I really didn't understand the judicial system. And I was very angry. Some of the things um, that they make you do, I don't think that they understand the impact that it has,
Mhm.
because they forced me to look at him in the courtroom. They forced me to identify him and to point him out.
Right.
And the entire time that I was on the witness stand, he stared me down. I guess as a form of intimidation, but I could remember um, being very angry and not understanding that he had a right to due process, because I understood that he was guilty. So I didn't understand that he had the
Right.
right to due process, nor did I understand his attorney representing him. I couldn't comprehend it. And so I'm sure that I was identified as a hostile um, witness. Um, but he got off.
What?
He was found not guilty. I think part of the problem is because the district attorney that we had for the entire year leading up to the trial um, ended up being on vacation at the time of the trial. So we had a new district attorney who really didn't know anything about the case other than what was in the file.
Mhm.
In addition to that, I was told that my mother would be allowed to be in the courtroom as a support to me. And they would not allow that to happen for whatever reason. Um,
You mind sharing what state this is in?
it was in the state of California, Southern California.
Hmm.
Now, mind you, I'm next week, no, well, in 3 weeks, I'll be 59. So I was about 11 years old when this happened. And it wasn't really prevalent in society. I mean, it happened, but,
Yeah.
people just they didn't reveal.
They didn't talk about it. They
They
weren't
didn't
educated.
talk about it. They didn't talk about it. Um, but what makes my situation even more tragic is because he was found not guilty, um, he developed a relationship with another single mother,
Mm, mm, mm.
and she caught him in the act, and he killed her.
Wait a minute, Michelle.
Yes, he killed her. Yes,
So, due to the fact that he got off, he went and found another woman, another single woman with children,
yes,
and he was caught molesting her child, and he killed the mother.
yes.
What
So
happened with the
he
child?
he he is now in prison for the rest of his life. But a woman lost her life, and another child has been traumatized.
Oh my
Mm.
God. That just took all of the turns in that story just took me just saying.
Mhm.
But
Did you?
there is something that I do want to say, especially to the mothers, women in general, but especially when it's dealing with the children. I know for me, I was told, you don't let anyone touch your privates,
Mhm.
Mm.
but it has to be much more detailed than that. I didn't feel like I could go to my mother for whatever reason. It needs to be specifically said. It doesn't matter if it's your father, it doesn't matter if it's your grandmother or if it's your uncle or your brother.
Yes.
You don't allow anyone, and you need to report it immediately. We have to
Mm.
be advocates for these children.
Yes.
Mm.
Man, Michelle, I sympathize and empathize with what you went through. And when I heard your story, um, the whole time I was listening to you and Shanae was how, I guess it's just not fathomable to me how, somebody can live through that, move forward and progress in life. And it takes such a strong person to be able to keep it together and really just not lose their minds when something like that happens. And then also the time frame that you gave. You said that these events happen around the age of 11 or 12, and you're 59 years old, and I'm listening to you and I'm listening to Shanae, and I'm still hearing the emotion and how you all are almost struggling to tell your story, because every time, and that's why I thank you all for coming up here and having the bravery to come and tell your story, because every time you tell it, you're reliving it. So
Mhm.
I commend you all for your bravery for doing that. And I want to know, like, just like I asked Shanae, what are some of the things that you did really to keep your sanity? Was it therapy? Was it spirituality?
I definitely did not do therapy. Um, One of my coping mechanisms is I suppress, any hurt that I have. And there are times when it will come bubbling up out of me. But the emotions of sexual abuse will never leave you. Right now, today, I can feel the emotions that I went through as a child.
Right, right,
Um,
Mhm.
but I will say this: that day, my mother was my hero. And that's not always the case. Some children are not believed.
Mm.
You know, um, I will forever be grateful to my mother and my friend Maria, who spoke out when I couldn't.
Mhm.
yeah. Take your time, Michelle. Like I said, we can take some breaks if you need to take a break.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think that you saying that is so important as well. And in Shanae's testimony, Shanae also said something similar. One of the things that helped her, and one of the things that saved her, and one of the things that saved you, was telling somebody
Yeah.
and and coming out and saying, "Hey, this is happening to me." Um, oftentimes there's so many different reasons in the Black community, and maybe not just within your stories particularly, but there's so many reasons why in the Black community, especially, a lot of children don't tell. One of the reasons may be because they don't think that it'll be taken seriously or they won't be believed. Another reason is that statistically, Black women are usually they are the highest percentage of single parent.
Mhm.
So a lot of times that stress and that guilt the child bears. So if your stepfather is paying the bills in the home and your stepfather is helping your mother take care of the kids, the child understands that. And the child understands, if I tell, then this could potentially break up this family. And this could potentially cause harm financially to my family. And I may
Mhm.
feel guilty because of that. A lot of children go through that guilt. The thing that touched me the most was when you said that he had the audacity to tell you that you don't have to be ashamed, as
He
if
did.
he is the one that shouldn't have had his head down in shame.
Yes. But that's a part of the manipulation of these pedophiles.
Hmm.
You know, for me, one of the emotions that I really struggle with is I loved him. Like he was my daddy. We had a really close relationship. And one day it turned I hated him. I hated him for what he did.
Right.
And that's the emotion I struggle with the most because I didn't want that hate in my heart.
For that
But I didn't
person.
know how to navigate through it.
Yeah. This is deep. And to know that, oh, where did April go? Did she drive? Let me see. Hold on one second, y'all. I was just about to get to her. Okay. April, I think you might have accidentally dropped it. No, I think I see you right there. Okay, here we go. Oh, I have someone else in the back as well. I don't really know
Me
how
too.
many people I can have up here. Um, but this is a new streaming site for me. It's not StreamYard, so I'm still trying to, figure out the kinks and stuff like that. I think that welcome, Kayla.
Hey, how y'all guys doing?
I'm good. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining the panel and being brave enough to come up here and share your story. I'm gonna get to April in 1 second, and what I wanted to say was um, that I think that what resonates with me the most is, or what sticks out to me the most, is that a lot of people don't realize that it's usually somebody that you know. And when you think about the not just the trauma, but the psychological mind warp that you go through when you feel one way about a person. They've been in your home as a family member. They've been friendly. They've been a provider. They've been loving and caring and nurturing. And then the next minute, they turn into a monster. And so now your emotions have to shift with that. And so that's very difficult as well. And I believe that a lot of times, children who know, most of the time, children know their abusers, because I think that predators find it easier to manipulate a child that they know, because they know your mom, or they know your dad, or they know your siblings. They can say, hey, you're going to break up the family if you say this, or I'm going to kill your mom if you say this. For and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but I want to get to April. But what I'm going to go back to is, what are some of the things that your abusers told you in order to keep you quiet? But before I get into that, I want to get to April really quickly. Thank you so much, Michelle and Shanae.
Okay, but before I get started, thank you, Upper, for having me up, and Michelle and Shanae. Um, I want to say to you all, uh, I am very proud of you.
Yeah.
Very, very proud of you. Um, so let's see. So here's the deal. So this is interesting because I tell my story quite often, but tonight it feels different, a little more emotional. So, um, my childhood, I was a latchkey kid. And so, if you guys are not familiar, most of us are familiar with that term, but that is my mother was a single mom. And so I was home alone a lot. And so, I was a neighborhood kid, born and raised in Compton, California, and, just kind of doing what latchkey kids do. You come and go, um, be in the house by the time the street lights come on, whatever. I'm an only child. I'm my mother's only child. I have siblings from my dad's side, but my mother's only child. And so my cousins were like my siblings. And so I had a ton of uncles that weren't really uncles. Um, and so uh, my childhood was filled with nothing but predators. I was around a lot of predators. It just it feels like my from the age of probably second grade, maybe kindergarten, maybe if I what's most memorable for me is probably second grade. Um, Boyfriends of hers, touching me inappropriately. Um, uh, Neighbors, again, I'm home alone, so I had chores, and my chores would be I have to wash my clothes. And so we lived in an apartment where, and this incident was I was in the third grade. Um, Lived in an apartment where I had to go to the back of the building to wash my clothes, and every time I did that, the neighbor guy who we were air quotes friends with, everybody lives in this apartment, so we all became friends. He would his name is Ronald, was Ronald. I don't know if he's alive now, but he would come to the back and he would literally finger me. He would kiss me, he would you know, uh all of the all of the things. And I, you know, because in my family there were predators, uh, and I knew of them, and so then I also came to know of them in the neighborhood. Uh, Unfortunately, it felt like this is normal because how is it possible that I'm around surrounded by predators, right? So when that situation happened in the laundry facility, I told my mom about it. Like he would come to the window and he would do and jack off like at my bedroom window. Um and I remember just being like, I'm gonna tell my mom. My mom was super, super strict and not easy to talk to. But I'm like, I'm gonna tell her. And so when I told her, it was the reaction that I was afraid of of receiving. She didn't believe me.
Mm.
And she actually, and this, so this story is so deep. So she actually uh, asked me in this moment, I'm telling her, and she was like, well, what did you do to entice him? And I
What?
did not even understand the question. And she was like, lay down on the bed, lay down on the bed and ask me to open my legs to check me. And she said, you're wet, so you must have wanted it because,
Mm,
and I'm like, what? I'm in my
mhm,
mind. I'm like,
I can't.
so that was humility, just all humiliation. And
mm,
I was ashamed. She made me feel ashamed. He called me fast,
Mm.
as if I wanted that, right? And so that that was that was a trip because I didn't even know, like, I don't know, I didn't even know how to process that. So now, you know, I'm like, okay, then other situations happened, like with her boyfriend. He was an alcoholic and we had a one bedroom apartment. Well, my mother would get up, go to work. I slept in the living room on like a little twin bed. And when my mother would go to work, I would get up. Now he's there, her boyfriend. I would get up, go and, take my shower, get ready for school and everything. This particular time,
I'm
uh,
sorry, April, I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to know how old you were during this time.
this was all like in a seventh to ninth grade period.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Nope, nope, nope. Third, third to fifth grade period. Because my life, like I said, it literally surrounded by
Oh,
this life. It's crazy. So the first, so second, from second to fifth grade, like I just remember episodes of encountering these thick ass men. You know what I'm saying? And so this particular, so from second to like, I'm giving you stories and incidents that happened from a second grade to like a fifth grade time period.
okay.
So now with the boyfriend, I was, um, so I would get up and go, take a shower or whatever, and he would come out of the room. And this one particular time, he decided to, now I'm in there taking a shower, got my music on, doing all the things. But because I felt uncomfortable around him anyway, I would, once I take a shower, like I would still put on my bathrobe just because I just felt very uncomfortable around him. And to me, that was a more, layered up, right? Because I was a very curvy person. So, and my mother also used that against me as well. I mean, so um, I came out of the bathroom and I'm headed out, getting ready to go to school, and he's laying on my bed jacking off.
While he
Uh,
knows you're
Say it again.
while he knows you're there.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there. Um, and so I rush out of the front door, and my best friend Rhonda, I went to her house and her mom was still home. She hadn't left for work yet. I still had on my robe. Like I just was like trying to get out of there. And I was obviously very frazzled because I'm like, and her mom was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I told her what was wrong with. Then she ended up calling my mom at work, um, and told my mom that she needed to come home, that there's been, a situation. My mother, was like, "Well, what's wrong? What's wrong?" Well, there's a situation with April, you need to come home. And so I didn't go to school that day. I stayed, Rhonda and her brother went to school. I stayed home with their mom, and my mother came, and the three of us, I was just terrified because now, mind you, I had already told my mother about this neighbor.
Right.
Okay. And then now her boyfriend is jacking off on my bed. I'm like, I'm gonna get a whooping. That's how I'm feeling. Like I'm gonna get in trouble. When she hears that this is what happened, and my mother heard the information. We went to the house. She called him over. She confronted him. He lied and said I was lying. And I'm thinking in my mind, I have enough common sense that if I'm telling you, my mother, that this man did this, you should never want to see this man ever again. She continued to allow him to come around me. He explained, and I just remember feeling like I mean, you're my mother, you know? And so So now that's that period in my life. So now let's transition to my teenage years being around my boy cousins. My mother would send me to Fontana, California, and I just remember his name was Kevin, um, fondling me. It felt like as a kid I couldn't escape this thing. Like it was like, what in the hell is going on? So I remember incidences of him, kissing me all the time. Like we would literally tongue kiss. And now I'm a teenager, so I'm 15 at this point, right? So now I'm fully developed, I'm going through all of these changes and I'm feeling, you got your hormones. So, I'm like this, knowing it's not right, but it's like it well, this is what's been happening in my life. Is it normal? And so I never told anybody about that. It only, the kisses only happened a couple of times. Um, and then so now, you take me into like now I'm really moving into like, okay, 15, 16, 17. I'm having these encounters with these. Now I'm dating age, right? Now it's time for me to date. I didn't have, while I didn't have any man penetrate me until I was 19, I was a very sexual individual because of all of the sexual experiences that I have had and been exposed to. And so it that then my very first boyfriend, I was like 19 years old. That's when I lost my virginity. But what ended up happening was all of those sexual encounters and exposure and things like that. My acting out was I became very promiscuous. And so um promiscuous, but never ever, now I'm gonna be real transparent, promiscuous, but as a woman, and even still to this day, I've never had an orgasm by a guy, like a man giving me that.
Mm.
Because the blockage that I have, and this is all through therapy, I just am not able to, um, I can't get there because
You
I have so much trauma.
you know what, April? And that's so I'm listening to this, and this is when you just said that really stood out to me because you said you were promiscuous, but you had never actually experienced an orgasm from a male, but you were still, partaking in these sexual behaviors with men. So
Mhm,
it had nothing to do with the actual physicality of it. It wasn't the how it felt. It was
mhm.
more so a mental thing.
It was a mental thing, and you know, it's like, so for me it was acceptance, validation. um my mother, when she did not believe me, I know that did something to me. um so I'm going through life being, so how I dealt with it and how I acted out was I just was like a sexual person and not really getting anything from it. Like, really, I mean, enjoying it, but not getting anything out of it. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it put me in very dark places. Sexual addiction is real. It definitely became a sexual addiction, um, to the point of where all through my 20s, all through my 30s, and even some of my 40s, um, I just would have sex with people that I don't really know, these men. Like it could be a one night stand, it could be, you know, I thank God because that I've never contracted AIDS because I wasn't practicing safe sex. When you're a sex addict, like you just don't do that. It's just you're trying to satisfy something. And all of that stems from my childhood. It really did. And so um I found myself at the age of 45 years old. I'm 55 now, but at the age of 45, I found myself, uh, mind you, so I'm born and raised in uh, Compton, but I moved to the Midwest. So now I'm still carrying that. I want to call it a demon because that's what it is, because that spirit was all on me, right? So I found myself in a like drug house, like a not even like with the dope dealer, the head person, didn't know his name, but having sex, waking up in a and I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And that was my bottom. That was my rock bottom.
Those are wake up.
Um from there I remember saying to myself, if I don't take it back to basics and get God in my life, back in my life, this is gonna kill me. I'm gonna end up somewhere in a very dangerous situation because this was not the first time that I had been somewhere that I didn't even know the guy's name. And um, so uh, at the age of 45, I went back to church, and just really started working on myself and going to therapy. And my therapist said, you need to talk to your mom about this. And I was like, oh no, mm-mm. She gonna explain it away. And so uh, I need to back up for a little bit.
Go ahead.
Um, I need to back up for a second. So at the age of 35, no, not 35, 27, um, my, it came out that my uncle, my mother's brother, who married a woman who had two children. She already had two girls. Married her, and then they later had two more children. So now they have a total of four children. When I was years old, it came out that my blood uncle, like my uncle, who was actually, my mother had five brothers, and he was like one of my favorite uncles. It came out that he had been having full blown sex with my cousin from the age of 6 to 16.
Mm. You said
Uh,
you said 6 to 16.
from age 6 to 16.
Wow.
And when that came out, she told that story, she waited until she was married and with children to tell the story. When the story came out, the reaction of the family, again, my mother, was, well, she must have wanted it, because why didn't she say something? And why is she saying something now? That drove me crazy. And I left LA. I was like, I'm out of here. And I moved to Texas. Um, that was that. So when I say my life has been that, it has been, all the things. And while I've been married and divorced and I have three amazing daughters, it has been a journey of me. I've had 8 years of therapy, 8 to 10 years of therapy. Um, I've confronted my mom about my childhood and how, um, because I couldn't keep a relationship. Like it affected all of my relationships. Like I wasn't able to just get grounded in that. And so, once I talked to my mom about it and held her accountable, well, that was the only time that I could then really love myself, because I mean my self-esteem was it was terrible. It was terrible. And so I have three amazing daughters, and that life that I had as a kid and as a young adult and as an adult, it made me super mom and super protective. I didn't let my girls go spend the night places. I just was I was very in tune with what they were, you know, in everything. And so, you know, uh, that's my story, and to this day, like I still don't have orgasms. I mean, I can, if I'm doing me, yeah, but with a man, and And I don't think people talk about that. I think people, women are not, when you have had a traumatic experience, it can affect you in a lot of ways, a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's my story.
You know what I want to? I know you guys in the chat don't know this, but they can't see the. I don't think they can see the comments.
No,
So first of all, April, I want to say thank you so much for sharing your story in such great detail. And um, what a lot of people are asking in the comments is how is your mother living?
my mother is still alive. She's 79 years old. Yeah.
A lot of people are wanting to know what your relationship with her is like now.
So my relationship with my mother is amazing, actually.
Wonderful.
It wasn't for a long time because she just wouldn't take ownership. And part of, like I said, I had done like 8 years of therapy, but I couldn't get over the hump because the assignment that my therapist gave me was the piece of the puzzle to you becoming whole is having this conversation with your mom and
Mhm.
letting her know how her decisions affected you as, all through your life. And so one day I sat on the sofa and I aired it all out with my mom. And I asked her, why didn't you protect me?
Mhm.
And my mother said, because I didn't know how, because I experienced that as a kid.
Oh,
And so my uncles, they molested her.
her
And
brother.
so, yeah, so the dark secrets that we have in our family, man, we have so many secrets. And so she said she didn't know how to protect me. Um, she handled it how things were handled, when she was a kid. She didn't know what to do with that. And, I make a conscious effort to just love my mom. She's the only mom I have. And I do have a forgiving heart. And uh, I don't, because she told me that, I think I just like, I understand the cycle.
Yeah.
I understand the cycle. And I know that she had her own traumas. And so, you know, I'm like, I went and got therapy so that I could do better, as a mom and as a woman. And me doing better is just accepting her for who she is. And I mean, I could live in, I don't want to live my life hating her. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what good is that going to do?
Right. Right.
So yeah,
Yeah, thank you so much for your story, April. And you are extremely brave. And
you're
um,
welcome.
not only that, but I think that you could. I noticed your Cash App was a podcast, dollar sign a podcast.
Yeah, yeah,
Have a podcast, or you trying to start one or something? Because the reason I say that is because, man, a lot of people really don't talk about the another thing a lot of people don't talk about in the black community is relationships between mothers and daughters. And oftentimes, a lot of people don't speak on the traumas that our own mothers can put us through because of the traumas that they dealt with. And how, as daughters, we can start understanding or trying to at least, I guess it'd be a start to try to communicate and understand what our mothers went through as children. And maybe that's why, she didn't understand what I was dealing with. But what I want to say is, we don't even have enough time to get into this, but maybe we can come back another day and talk about like what some of the steps are, because you said that you made a conscious decision to love your mother.
yeah,
And that those are powerful words, because even
mhm,
sometimes you don't show that you love somebody, it doesn't mean that you don't.
yeah,
So not only did you make a conscious decision to love her, you made a conscious decision to show it and to give
yeah,
all of the
yeah.
anger that you acquired over the years from dealing with that type of stuff. And to be honest with you, April, I commend you for that because I don't know if I could have done it. And
Yeah, it's a struggle, and I will say, I have so I will tell you the therapy definitely was my saving grace. Definitely going to church and getting, just really, really grace, and so with my mother, what one thing I know for sure, she lives in turmoil on her own
mm,
because she never dealt with her traumas. And so and now that I better understand that, uh when she does, because she triggers me a lot, she does trigger me, but because I've become stronger in terms of like just owning what happened to me, realizing that it wasn't my fault, and I think that has made me be able to, when she cuts up, because she'll cut up still in terms of like how she treats me and stuff sometimes. And I just know that I know now how to like establish boundaries. I'm just a stronger individual. Whereas when I was a kid, I was super weak. I got married and I didn't even know how to be an adult because that being around all of that abuse, and even my mother was physically abusive towards me. She beat the shit out of me, like Kuta Kente style. Like it was terrible.
really,
Yeah, it's girl, that's all the trauma.
you
And
think
so,
your mom?
but in therapy, what I learned was it was her anger, because that's what she shared. She said, she was just an angry person.
Whew,
Yeah.
whew, that's all I can say. And you know what? I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move on to Kayla in a minute. But what I want to say is, I got so many questions. I really do, and so many things that we can go from where that we can go from here. I can hear some. I don't know. I'm gonna let uh, Kayla go. And again, I thank you so much, April, for sharing your story. And girl, if you don't go ahead and get that podcast up off the ground, I don't know what you're waiting on.
You know
Um,
what? I always think about doing it and then I back up off of it. I think mainly because my mother is alive still. That's the only reason why. Because I was going to tell people that I was coming on the show, but my mother is well known, well known. Uh, and I that's why I don't have my picture up and I put RA, I haven't said my last name. She's just well known in her church community, and I'm choosing to not tell my story out loud while she's alive, just out of respect for her position.
okay, man.
That's the reason.
Woo, that's a whole nother story right there too. That's a whole nother topic right there too. When you can't even, because sometimes sharing your story is therapy,
Yeah.
and when you have to hold that in and control, and kind of monitor how you decide to tell your story, when and where, because you don't want it to affect someone else. You're such a beautiful person, April, because
Oh,
you're taking, even with all of you. Let me not just say all of you, because even with all of the tragedy and trauma that you guys have faced, you still made room for love, and you still made room for growth, and that's amazing to me, because like I said, I don't know if I would have made it. I don't know if I could have done it. It takes a lot of strength to do what you guys are doing right now. And I can't thank y'all enough. Y'all got me over here with I don't know if these bumps are, I'm not an emotional person. I don't know if y'all can tell. But I'm looking at my arms and my got these bumps, goosebumps coming, and I just some of this is just, mind blowing. And it also shows me the resilience of a child. For a child to be so tiny, so small, and so vulnerable, the things that a child can survive amazes me. I'm gonna say thank you so much. Thank you so much. Who's Rich? Thank you, sis. She says, Rich said, because I know you guys can't see the comments, so let me read it. This is a question for everyone, and I'm going to keep it up because I want you guys to answer it after Kayla tells her story. But Rich says, do you feel as if your deep pain trauma was more, okay, this is for April, was more because your mother didn't believe you more than the SA trauma, why you went down that path as far as the promiscuity? I have a client who currently has had a similar experience, and she feels her pain is more from, I can't see the rest of the comment. Oh, more from her mom.
Yeah.
So So I'm gonna let you go ahead and answer that, April, just because it's for
uh,
you.
Okay. I would say in my therapy, what came out is that absolutely spot on. The rejection from my mother did more damage than the essay. Because like I love my mom, I love and still do. Um, you know, the another topic that you could probably have um, upper is when your parent is a narcissist. Like in therapy, it came out that the abuse that I ever experienced, the very first abuser was my mother.
Oh,
And so that about killed me. I thought I was like, you what that really um that did something because and it is if you take a look at it. I mean, she gave birth to me and she like I said, I was physically abused by her and mentally and emotionally abused by her. And so it made it very easy for the men to do that, because I didn't have the support emotionally, mentally, or physically, really.
right.
So yeah, fucked up thing.
Okay. I'm gonna pull that down. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Retta, for that super sticker. She says, "God bless all the women on the panel." Thank you, Retta. And also, what I want to say before I move on to Kayla, I know I keep saying that, but I know you guys cannot type in the chat, you guys that are on the panel, but there are several people in the chat that are requesting you guys cash apps. I did have one person say that she really didn't want to give her cash app uh, because she wanted it to go to me, and I appreciate that so much. But I'm still gonna say I would like for it to go to you. And she knows who she is because you guys deserve it. I know, it's no amount of money, that can really, do anything as far as, you guys coming up here and telling such detailed stories about your past traumas. But that's the least that I feel like I can do is post your cash apps and, as a thank you from me and my supporters. I really appreciate you all. So if you guys want to give me your cash app, you can write it in the backstage in the private chat. And then after that, I can put it in the chat so that everybody can see it. Okay. And don't be shy. Okay. We're gonna move on to Kayla. Kayla, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Hey, Oprah, how you doing?
I'm good. It's good to hear your voice. Thank you for coming up.
You welcome.
Okay, so you know what we're speaking on, and I saw you in the chat, so I went ahead and dropped the link because you said because you heard these women sharing their stories that it inspired you to want to share your story, and I greatly appreciate that. And that's what this is for, a healing experience. So it's a lot of people that do have fear of sharing their story, which is understandable. But when you see brave women like these come up here and educate people in the community about what happened to them and what they suffered through and the effects of it. That's really needed. So, Kayla, I want to commend you for being strong enough to say, hey, I want to come up too. So I appreciate that.
You welcome.
And you can jump into your story whenever you feel like it. All ears.
Hey, hey, my name is Kayla. I'm 25 years old. Um, I was 11 when this happened to me. My mom had a boyfriend or whatever. He used to My mom used to work all the time. He used to, my brother. I had two brothers. My brothers used to always go out and play basketball. I used to be the only person at the house. I'm the only girl. He used to tell me he's gonna kill me if I tell my mom. He used to tell me he gonna kill me. So one day, my mom was at work. My brothers, they gone to the basketball court. I'm laying on the couch. I'm just getting out of school. I'm laying on the couch. All of a sudden, he's pulling my pants down. He's he's trying to penetrate me, and I see nut going down my booty. And I just started yelling. So after that, I just started calling my mom. My mom did not answer. So by the time my brothers and them came back, this man gone. He got people telling me that they gonna kill me or whatever. So by that time, my mom and them came, and I had told her. By that time, when I told her, he was gone. So we had the police there or whatever. I was going to I was going to this place, and I was getting checked back to back, back to back. They was constantly checking me.
Okay, Kayla, are you still talking? Okay, take your time, Kayla. Let me let this person. Kayla, is that you? If you, we understand that this is a serious topic and it's a touchy subject, and if you feel like you need to take a break, but you want to stay on the panel and just listen to the rest of the live, you can. There's no pressure. You don't have to tell your story. Do you follow me on Facebook, Kayla?
Yes.
You do. So I want you. So if you can inbox me, because I feel like if you can't tell your story, I feel like you probably would need somebody to talk to. So you can talk to me. I'm gonna give you my number in the inbox. Okay, let me let. Does
Yes,
that sound, do that sound like a plan?
yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
I am 25.
Okay. Even though I understand it is difficult to talk about it. So what I'll say is, if you're not ready, if you want to talk to me about it first, anytime that you feel like you want to talk about it, you can get in my inbox. I'll give you my number, and you and I can talk whenever it is that you feel like you just need to let it out. If
Listen
this,
up, listen, Upper. This is my first time ever telling my story.
it,
I
it,
never told. I never told my story to anyone. This is my first time coming on the internet telling my story. Sometimes I be fear to tell my story because I don't want it to get out to anyone.
mhm. Have you ever told anybody before, ever?
Only person who know about my story is my mom, like my family.
Okay.
Okay. And it sounded to me like this is a situation where, you know, we have to probably, I feel like we should build a community around Kayla. And
Yeah, absolutely, Upper. That's
Yes.
spot on. Um, uh, if you're wanting to host any sort of community talks or something like that, I would be open to, talking to her too.
right, I would love that.
Yeah, I will be too. I'm willing, Kayla. You can reach out to me. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
We need to. If this is her first time, like once you tell your story for the first time publicly, um, I'll just tell you, you feel, and then you go into your day, you might doubt doing that. So if possible, I think you're doing a great job. But Upper, I think you're right. Like we have to, because then she'll feel like, oh my gosh, I'm left alone. I just told all these people, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do, Kayla, is I would love for you to go into my inbox either today or I mean tonight or tomorrow whenever you get a chance. Leave me your number and I'm gonna make we're gonna talk. If you feel comfortable with me, and I'm not it's no pressure. If you want to tell your story to me first, we can do that. And then I think that maybe myself, April, Michelle, Shanae, and whoever else has possibly been through this type of situation, y'all, I'm trying to hold it together. Hold
I
on.
know. Mhm. It's it's a hard thing. Yeah,
It
thank you.
is. But
It's just
Kayla, you know
hard.
what? It is,
Mm-hmm.
it's really good. Like, so it is very therapeutic. And I just want to say to you, I know that that is really, really hard to do. The
Mm-hmm.
first time you tell your story, it'll, you have a testimony. Um, it will get easier if you choose to tell it. I know over the years it's gotten easier for me, but you want to definitely have a community with you so that you can learn how to navigate those feelings that you're feeling now. Um, and sometimes, to be honest with you, you know, you are going to, it'll take you back to the moment that it happened, which is what I think Janae said that she also experiences. And so, uh, I just want to say that you are a brave, brave young lady.
Yeah,
Yes,
Kayla,
ma'am. I thank you all.
yeah,
Yeah,
you.
Kayla. Y'all, I had to take a break because Kayla sound like a baby, y'all. Y'all know I feel
I
her.
know she does.
She sound like a baby, and I got triggered just then. Okay, so yeah, so this is and um this is the reason why I did this live because and I don't want to bring this back to no saga stuff, y'all. But when you see grown adult women embracing molestation, predators, and things of that nature, we don't realize who's watching us, and we don't realize who's in our audience and who we're hurting by doing that. And when we minimalize things like that, we don't know who we're hurting. And just to hear Kayla, I'm listening to her, but listening to her makes me feel like, man, who else is watching me? Who else is hearing this? Who else is being affected by these stories? Who else is in the audience crying and wishing that they could come up and tell their story, but they just not ready? And
Mm-hmm.
really,
That's right.
we don't have big platforms, but um, we have to understand who we're affecting and how serious it is what it is when we open our mouths and spread certain messages, whether it be good or positive. And I think this is a wake-up call for me, really,
Mm-hmm.
as a content creator, as somebody that goes live and kind of has the freedom to just say whatever I want, however I want. This is a wake-up call for me as well, that it's a lot of Kayla's in the audience, that have never really had a chance to tell their story. And when we have the opportunity, we have a platform that we can share so that people can uh, have a positive change in their life instead of spreading negativity all the time. So this is really dope to me. So I think Kayla dropped down. Kayla, if you're still listening, please do if you want to, please try and do what I asked you and go in my inbox and leave your phone number for me. Um, let's see if I have any questions in the chat. Y'all, I don't like being emotional. I don't know. I don't know why I thought I would be able to do this and just be all, but that one right there got me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
um
Upper, can I say something?
yeah, anytime you guys want to jump in, you can.
You are the reason uh, why I even trusted you with my experience, because I have
Mm-hmm.
been following you since, of course, the saga. But you are a woman of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And you have absolutely created a safe space.
Yes. Thank you, Jesus.
You stand on principles.
Thank
Mm-hmm.
you.
Um, and I try to model my life with that. And so, I really do appreciate, because hopefully we can save some children and
Yeah,
we can
Amen.
open some women's eyes.
Amen.
yeah, yeah. That's the goal. That's the goal. Thank you so much for saying that. And I had so many more questions for you guys, but that one kind of took me out. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
it it really did. That one kind of took me out a little bit. And
Yeah.
what I do want to say though is that I appreciate that was Michelle talking, right?
Yes.
Was it
Mm-hmm.
Michelle? What's her name?
Yes.
Okay, I appreciate that, and because even though this is like a pastime for me, I'm learning that not just my conduct, but the messages that I put out. Um, it's
Mm-hmm.
important. It's not a game. Anytime God blesses you with a platform, and that doesn't mean I'm perfect because I'm not. I'm still gonna slip up, y'all. Probably I'm gonna try not to, but um, I'm learning the weight the what I hold in my hands. Yeah, it's a YouTube platform, but just this platform, I have the ability to really help somebody. And
Mm-hmm.
and that is so amazing, and I feel so blessed that it doesn't even have nothing to do with monetization and money. For me, it's more I could change a life, I could educate somebody. Maybe not just me, but maybe me and the people in my community, we could possibly stop somebody from hurting themselves because they wanted to get this out, or they wanted to speak to somebody. And I just feel like overall, we have to be careful with the messages that we spread when it comes to, and I gotta bring this up, y'all. Even though I said I wouldn't really, was not 0% gonna talk about this saga at all. A lot of you guys' stories um touched on boyfriends, stepfathers, male family members. This story really was near and dear to me because I really jumped into the saga around the time when uh, the John Nail character was introduced. And the reason I jumped in around that time was because I felt like that young lady, Brianna, was spreading a very dangerous lifestyle. And I say that all the time. Um, we have to learn that as mothers, and I want to ask you guys this too, because I don't know how many moms I have up here. I know April says that she has children. As mothers, what, just due to your own traumas, what are you doing different? What is it that you say, I will never do that because I know that if I do that, it's a possibility that this could happen to my children. I know April said that she was super overprotective because of what she dealt with. Do I have any other moms up here?
Yeah. I'm still overprotective, and my kids are 33, 34, and 27. So I'm really, but I got a daughter and I got two boys. But yeah, I'm real protective over them, and but I told them, my daughter know my story. So,
Oh,
and I'm just real protective over them, and after I told her that story, Brianna would never leave my sight. Okay, she never would leave my sight when I was around men. She was like, no, not even her father. She would not leave me. And this was told when I got married, and she said it at my reception or whatever, wedding reception. And she had me in tears up there. She was like, now I feel safe, with my husband to
Right.
leave because she feel that he will take care of me and not let nobody harm me. So she said, I feel safe with leaving my mother in your hands now because my mother has been through so much in her life.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. What about Michelle? Are you a mom?
I am.
And
And
how?
it does make you overly protective. Almost to the point that you're smothering your children.
Mm-hmm.
My children are adults now, um, but I'm still very much overprotective of them.
Mm, mm.
Yeah,
No,
even for like my like everyone on the panel, you know, w- our children are adults. My girls 35, 28, and 26, and um, I have I'm you know my number one thing is you need to let your boyfriends know that your mom is crazy because I am. I'm
mm,
crazy to the point where I'm a mama bear. Like one of my girls literally that's my name in her phone because my childhood, I mean, I'm like I will take a bullet for mine. Like I'm going to cut up. Like I just have always told them please just be very mindful and listen to the things that I'm telling you because I will catch a case for you. Like I don't have it in me to I'm never going to not believe you. I'm going to always believe
Mm-hmm.
you. So if you come to me and you can't be on BS because you're trying, cuz sometimes kids, they want attention. I'm like that's one thing you can't do to me because my childhood trauma is going to make me catch a case because I'm protecting you based off of my childhood. You know what I mean? Like if that makes sense. So you guys can't be out here running raggedy and you can't be doing things because I'm coming with a vengeance. And that's still today. I'm very protective.
right. I feel like that's needed today, though, and I don't think kids really understand. Um, but I think that as they get older, they do because I know that when I was growing up, I never experienced molestation. I never experienced it, and um, I used to kind of, I wouldn't say resent, but I used to always wonder. I used to feel like my mom was over the top. Like she didn't really. I'm like, you don't let me experience anything. I can't go anywhere. I can't spend a night, not even at my cousin's house. And I never understood why. But when I had kids and I started understanding the world and I started, getting into my field and I started understanding where her fear derived from.
Mhm.
So now I get it, you know. Um, so what I want to say is I want to say thank you so much to y'all stubborn because y'all just don't want to put y'all cash apps. Miss uh, April, the only one that's complying up here now. So uh, I'm not gonna make y'all uncomfortable because if you don't want to put it up, you don't have to. I'm just asking just because the chat was asking. And so I wanted to make sure that the chat knows that I also feel like you guys should put your cash apps up, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. So thank you all for it's a lot of people saying I wish you guys could read the chat, but you can't.
What
Um,
did,
let me see. Let me look at some of the comments before we get down. A lot of people are saying, okay, so Gigi says, Kayla, can you guys see the comments when I pin it?
yes.
When you pin it, we can see it. Yeah.
Okay. Kayla, I'm praying for you, sweetheart, and maybe one day you will be able to tell your story. Blessings to you. That one says, April, I feel this because I feel like this is about my girls. I will go to jail and to hell about mine due to what my mother do. But my mother always protected me and my siblings and did not play.
Hmm.
And you know, when April spoke about her mom, you know what that kind of reminded me of? Well, not reminded me, but what I thought when I heard what you said your mom's reaction was, when you said that she basically had you, tried to examine you and said you were fast and was coming up with all of these excuses. And I think your mom was afraid. And I don't think that she displayed it properly, obviously, back then. I think it
Yeah.
was fear. I think it was fear and guilt.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and that is the, so 100%. And, but as a kid,
You didn't understand.
that's not registering that way. And so as an adult, it does, but it's after 8 years of therapy that I got there. You know what I'm saying? And it's hearing her say that she didn't know how because of her own traumas. And so, but I mean, I just remember feeling like nothing, like I was not, I was a kid and I just did not feel valued. And that is why it is so important that you only get one opportunity to have your kid feel like you're going to have their back. Cuz
Yep.
the one slip up, because the one time you do it, it stuck with me. So now I'm keeping the secrets.
Yep. And that's another thing. But I'm gonna say that that's another lie. But as parents, I think that that's it. Parents need to be educated about the proper responses to this type of stuff. When our kids come to us, what's the proper response? Sometimes even when you become upset, when you get angry because your child is saying, hey, this is happening to me, so you get angry, but you're angry at the perpetrator, but all your child is seeing is that you're furious and they've caused you to lose your temper. So I think that there's ways to respond to things like this that could potentially stop further abuse, and it would encourage our children to come to us and tell us things, instead of them being afraid to come and tell us things. Um,
Exactly, but I think also when you're when in the mistake, I'm gonna just call it what it was.
mhm.
When my mother, so when I'm telling you that your boyfriend's jacking off on my bed, instantly there should now not be that boyfriend around at all. Like, you know, so a lot of resentment I had to work through. And maybe even tonight it's kind of bringing up a little bit more anger because I feel like it's now I'm feeling the anger behind it because I'm like,
Because
even if you had your own traumas, like I'm telling you, your boyfriend jacking off on my bed. Like,
right, right.
what about that didn't make you say, I don't want to be in that again because she had her own traumas and she went through that. And
Especially,
because her self-esteem was low.
especially when you know how it felt as a child.
Yeah. Like I'm like,
When you think about the April, and listen, you also think about the different responses too, because I'm listening to how you're explaining how you are as a mom because of all of the sexual trauma that you went through as a child, and
right.
it seems like your mom had it had the reverse effect.
Exactly. Like
So
I shouldn't have, I'm her only child. I was her only thing that she had to protect. That was it. And she failed at that. And that's why I think my mother was so mean. I just think that I think just dealing with her own guilt. She took it out on me. That's all I could think of.
Hello, are we still here?
I'm still here. I think
Oh,
I'm glad you said something. So okay, I can hear
oh,
you.
I was talking my behind off.
Oh,
So
okay.
what I was saying was, that is the reason why I am so proud of y'all for coming up here, because when you said, just I could even hear the shift when you were talking about it. I could hear the shift in your voice. I could hear it. Your energy shifted. And
Yeah.
I said earlier, even just talking about it is very brave because you're subjecting yourself to reliving it all over again. And it ignites those feelings all over again. Even if you go to therapy, even if you
Hmm.
talk through it, it's
That's
always
right.
there.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Getting
So
angry all over again because I feel like you had one job,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that was to protect.
yeah. But let me read Miss White's comment. Thank you so much, Miss White, for that super chat. Miss White says, "Ladies, your stories are powerful enough to help bring awareness to our Black community that deal with this more than you know. We counsel so many women with your stories being nearly identical. I'm super proud of you all. Thank you so much, Miss White.
Thank you, Miss White.
Thank you, Miss White.
You.
Y'all, we got to work as a team. I like this panel. We need to
Mm-hmm.
work as a team moving forward. I don't know if you guys want to do something weekly, or maybe we could do this in memberships. I don't know
We
how
could
we.
do we could do
I would
the
be open to
DV
that. That sounds
the
like because I do feel like there's well, we have
mm-hmm.
a story, and there are a lot of people that have a story, and so it's healing. And I feel like as blacks, in the black community, we know if we talk about it, there's healing in that. Like we know that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah, upper we can definitely talk about that.
Yeah,
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 but like the DV, 'cause,
yeah,
I'm a
yeah, yeah.
DV victim.
Shanae did hit me up on the in the private chat, and she's interested in doing a domestic violence panel. Now, I understand the domestic violence month passed, but for domestic violence survivors, ain't no domestic violence month. Every month is domestic
Mm-mm.
violence month. So I would love to do that whenever you guys had an opportunity. Fridays is best for me. I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed this. I am super like surprised at how transparent you guys were and how y'all were able to get through it. Kayla kind of broke me down now. I stayed strong up until the end. Um,
Yeah.
y'all
Man, Kayla, my heart that and she sounds like a baby. You
sound
right.
Yes.
to me, and I think that's what
Mhm.
it is. But, I want to say thank you guys so much for joining my panel tonight. I really appreciate you guys. Y'all are the bomb. I love y'all so much.
Thank you.
And then
Well,
entrusting my channel with it, and that really means a lot to me. So I really appreciate you guys. You guys' stories blew me away. Okay, so did you guys have any last remarks or anything that you want to say before we end it today?
no, I just want to say
No.
thank you so much for just allowing us to be on your panel and for even paying attention enough to even host something this evening. Like
Mm-hmm.
you are, I think it was Michelle who said, yeah, the level of integrity that you have and how direct you are, and you don't ever sidestep. You're very consistent, and that is important. I only subscribe to I think 4 content creators, and you are absolutely one of them that will I will always support because
Mm-hmm.
I love your platform.
Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. That means the world to me, y'all. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
we do.
Appreciate that. All right, y'all. I am getting ready to go ahead and end this for tonight. Thank you guys again for coming up and
All
sharing
right.
your stories. I appreciate y'all. And we're going to get together again in the inbox, and we'll come up with something else that we can come together and talk about, whether it be in members or public. I don't know. It just really just depends. And I
Yeah.
think Shanae is right. Maybe we should do a DV panel next time. So
Yeah.
yeah. So thank you guys for joining, and I'm gonna let you guys down. I appreciate
Okay.
y'all.
Thank
Love y'all.
you.
Y'all have a
Good
good night.
night, you all.
Okay. Good night.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good
Good
night.
night,
Good night.
y'all.
Thank
Good night,
you.
y'all.
All righty. Bye bye.
Okay, guys. Well, I think that turned out great. The ladies were super brave tonight, sharing their story. I really enjoyed their stories. It was super transparent. And I just can't even begin to understand how brave a person would have to be able to do that publicly. So again, I know that I've said it a million times, but I want to thank all of the panelists that came up, including Kayla, for entrusting my platform with such a sensitive topic. And thank you guys for stopping by and supporting my channel in this topic that is very, very important to me. Because most of you guys know, because I say it all the time, you guys that follow my platform, I am extremely passionate about children. I love children. I love kids. And so this was very, very uh, important to me. So this is something that I really, really wanted to talk about and bring attention to. So I'm forever grateful for everybody that came through, gave me a view, and listened to the ladies' stories and gave encouraging words in the chat. Um, and that's it. I really appreciate y'all, and we'll catch up another day. Next live probably won't be so serious. I probably will be going live on my other channel. If you guys don't know, this channel is called, and I don't know, I'm thinking about changing the name of it because this channel is the original The Upper Echelon Podcast. My other channel is called Upper Echelon The Podcast. It's a little bit too similar to this, so I may change it just so that people understand the difference, okay? Because sometimes I be getting confused as to what channel I'm on, okay? So I may go live tomorrow. I may go live Sunday. I really don't know yet. But whenever I choose to, I'll let you guys know on my Facebook page. If you're not following me on Facebook, I have a picture of Dave Chappelle. It's Tyrone Biggums. And all you have to do is type in Upper Echelon and that picture should pop up. That's me. So you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you again for stopping by. Thank you again for my wonderful panelists. All right, y'all. Peace.